The foremost, the most significant role in the assassination was that of its founding father, Sheikh Mujib, which has really no precedent in its world. And we should assess the 15-year rule of Sheikh Hasina in this background and this specific. She grew up while her father was Pakistan's president. She knows all about student politics because she was a very active student activist. She was appointed, she was elected to the Students' League, the students' political organization, which was funded by her father in 1914. In power, when she came to power, she ruled with an iron fist, never overcoming the trauma of her father's fate, and never overcoming what she considered the atrocities of Pakistan, or the Pakistan armies, British Pakistan in 1970s. She carried that bitterness with her to the end, although Sheikh Mujib had signed with Pakistan and India the tripartite agreement, which pledged to put the past behind them, and that was in April 1974. She was not a stranger to the prison. She was in and out of detention throughout the 1980s. And it was while she was living in exile in 1981 that she was elected president of India. As Prime Minister, her rule was criticized for enforced disappearances and suppression of dissent, and for being close to India. But under her stewardship, Bangladesh saw a great boom in its economy. Its per capita income grew larger, much larger than that of Pakistan, but also higher than that of India. She was ruthless, and she hanged aged Jamaat-e-Islami members as punishment for their role in supporting Pakistan during the Bangladesh Civil War. And some of them were actually hanged decades after the war had ended, decades after, 45 years after. And as we all know, in the face of the student-led protests against her, she fled to India on the 5th of August, this month on the 5th of August 2024. Sheikh Hasina has accused or claimed that the United States of America was responsible for her downfall. We all know that the United States of America has interfered in the affairs of countries all over the world and has tried to engineer regime changes. But the reason she gave, there may be other reasons we don't know about, but the reason she gave is that she did not hand over to them St. Martin's Island, which is a tiny island. It is a coral reef island, which is inhabited only by a few thousand people. She said that she did not hand over that island to them where they wanted to make a military base, and so they toppled her government. Of course, as analysts, we all know that there were many reasons why the government was toppled. And St. Martin's Island is such a small little island, it's a coral reef island, that I doubt if a big military base could have been installed over there. Now coming to Bangladesh as it is today, the situation today, They call it the monsoon revolution. It is also described as the second liberation of Bangladesh. The first, of course, was liberation against Pakistan. And it is marked by the student-led protests against Hasina's government, Sheikh Hasina's government. The students were very courageous. They defied curfew and they took to the streets. In the run-up to the mayhem, 400 people are said to have lost their lives, but actually there may have been many more. And 450 of the 600 police stations in the country had been torched, and the police has gone on strike. And in this mayhem, as often happens in civil unrest, this is not peculiar only to Bangladesh. It happens in civil unrest that the protesters turn on the minority community. In this case, the minority community comprises of Hindus, and they have been turned upon also in the past in Bangladesh. Their homes and businesses and temples have been torched. Some Hindus have tried to flee to India, into the West Bengal province, but they have been denied entry. And understandably so, because India does not want a refugee problem on its hands. The choice of Dr. Yunus, Dr. Muhammad Yunus as advisor, he is called the advisor, although in practical terms he is the Prime Minister, in the interim government was dictated by the students. I watched his entry into Dhaka airport. We flew in from France. He got a very grand welcome. In his cabinet, he holds 27 portfolios. And so I don't know how much justice he can do to those portfolios, but he holds 27 portfolios. He has also inducted into his cabinet, as a gesture to the students' movement, 2 students. The more important of them is Nahid Islam, the student leader who has led this movement. Many questions can be raised about what will happen in the future. How interim will the interim government be? The opposition has asked for elections to be held in 3 months. But according to Sayyida Rizwana Hassan, who is the advisor to the chief advisor, nobody is talking about elections. The emphasis is on reform. In movements of radical change, the reformists always come forward and take center stage because they feel that there is an opportunity in a new kind of setup to reform the structure of government and society. Meanwhile, there has been a great vacuum so far as governance is concerned in Bangladesh today. The Chief Justice and many junior judges, the Governor of the Central Bank and his deputies, and many top bureaucrats appointed by Hasina have been forced to resign because of the pressure of the students. Also, vice-chancellors of universities have been forced to resign. So there is a very fluid situation, especially with respect to the army, the relationship with the army, which was actually the institution which took over power when Sheikh Hasina was thrown out. The question will also be raised as to what will be Bangladesh's relations in future with India. Dr. Yunus has said that India had forged relations with Sheikh Hasina, as Prime Minister, and not with the people of Bangladesh. The students, on the other hand, have asked for accountability and justice, and for the arrest and trial of Sheikh Hasina and her extradition from India to Dhaka. No doubt, the student-led movement has been remarkable. There have been similar movements in other countries also. There was a students' movement against General Ayub in our own country. The students of Bangladesh are perpetually vigilant. The movement has been remarkable not only for its intensity, but also for its success. The young people are still in the streets of Dhaka and in other parts of Bangladesh, and the protests continue. The Hindu community continues to be targeted. It is my pleasure now to request Ambassador Dafuzama to address the audience.